Hey guys, Peter here to tell you about the latest from Cult of Luna, The Long Road North, out February 11th on Metal Blade Records. The album has 9 tracks, 69 minutes in length, and this is the band's 9th full-length studio album. They are a Swedish progressive, atmospheric metal band. As far as the design for this record, this album has options, or it gives the listener options in terms of how you want to approach it. If you take the traditional format of going from start to finish, you're going to find some chaos in this album. Now, the chaos is not within the songs themselves. The songs actually feel very straightforward, very linear at times, giving you a beginning, middle, and end. Easy for you to stay connected with them throughout the entire experience. The chaos exists between songs. It's hard to find the commonality that these tracks have with one another. It's easier to find the moments in which they are pulled apart from one another. So once you discover the things that they are in common, you start to see the light at the end of the tunnel. A light bulb goes off in your head. You take the learning experience that each song gives you and you start to put all the pieces together. Once everything becomes clear, you want to go back again to the record because you want to approach the album with a different set of eyes. The experience is going to be much different that time around because you're going to discover things that you just didn't see or didn't feel before. And when you do that, you're going to discover new elements, allowing you to go back again to the record. So this album has incredible playability once you approach the album from start to finish and you start to uncover all the Easter eggs that the album has from start all the way to the end of the line. Now, if you take a different approach and you go through playlists and you're just listening to a song here and there, the quality of the album is still there because the quality of the individual songs is undeniable. It doesn't matter if you listen to a song in the context of the album or you listen to a song outside of that context, the quality of the song itself is unmoved. So you're going to get the same essence just from that single experience. You're not going to get the big picture, but you're going to get that snapshot of what the album was all about. Once you move into the sound, this album has an incredible sound experience, incredible atmosphere, but it felt a little bit more rugged to me. It felt a little bit more sludgier. I'm not saying that that wasn't there in previous records. I think it was just better defined on this album, and it has a more clear impact on how it drives the experience of the sound and how it impacts the atmosphere. This is not to say that every single song sounds sludgy, sounds rugged. That's not the case. There's going to be a lot of differences. There's going to be a lot of chaos, like I said, within this album. But the impression that you get at the end of the record is that this was a very dirty sounding album, had a lot of sludginess to it, and you had to kind of walk through that muck in order to discover what the track's all about. I felt like it worked really well because it added a sense of simplicity to the album. It allowed you to feel the texture of the album a little bit better because it wasn't hidden between layers, and the overall experience becomes a lot more engaging, and therefore the album increases in playability, not just from an individual song perspective, but from the overall big picture. This is also a record that's not driven by one sound element. It's not driven by the guitar, it's not driven by the drums or bass. No, it's driven by everything together. The album is what it has as a whole, not just depending on one single thing in order to create momentum, in order to create atmosphere, in order to create movement. Now, obviously, the drums, guitars are the two things that perhaps you're going to gravitate to because they have a more defined role in everything else that is happening, but the album lives from the quality of everything coming together at the right time, in the right moment, in the right amount. The drums on this album actually have a very interesting impact because I was expecting them to ground the record a lot more than what they do. They actually expand the footprint of the album without necessarily grounding it. Now, there's moments where they give some heaviness to the record, where they do give some weight to the way the songs are put together. But more often than not, that weight really dissipates and permeates and allows the songs to stretch out and feel really big without necessarily having a thick, heavy volume to them. The guitars on this album are phenomenal. They create a little bit of movement within each and every single song. They help the direction of the tracks, and it's definitely something that you can hold on to almost on every single song as far as what's going to carry you forward and what's going to take you from the starting point all the way to the finish line. While not being necessarily a beacon within the overall construction of this record, it's definitely a very important element, one that plays an important role in how the listener is going to connect or how the listener is going to find the commonalities that this album holds. As far as the vocals goes, the range is outstanding, and I love it. And I love the fact that each song gave me almost a different approach, a different tone, a different delivery. Now, there's some commonalities as far as the vocals are concerned, but there's also things that really separate each and every single song. I like the fact that it has diversity. I like the fact that the vocals in some tracks while bringing some commonalities from previous tracks, were used in a different sense. They were used more as an instrument and less as a voice that is just reading lyrics or they're trying to transmit a picture through words. That was important to me because here you are using the same thing on a different track, but now you're using it with a different format. And just by using it with a different format, it makes everything sound completely different and allows the songs to have a different life, a different DNA. But the vocals throughout, every single song on this album, the vocals match perfectly what the track has in store. What the track has in store musically and what the track has in store atmospherically. They go hand in hand, pure perfection from start all the way to the end. Overall, this is my favorite Cult of Luna album. And I'm not just saying that because this is their latest record. If you go back and you see some of my previous reviews, I haven't been a huge fan of this band. I've always had a hard time digesting their music, connecting with it, staying connected. I was always feeling lost. I wasn't sure exactly where I was going, what the hell was happening around me. I never felt that connection. I felt that the songs and their music always had quality, but I just couldn't find something that would allow me to connect with it. This album, from the moment I pressed play, I felt immediately connected to it. Connected to the soundscape, connected to the experience that it gives. As far as favorite songs are concerned, I want to start off with the Silver Arc. Melodic, melancholic opening sound, absolutely phenomenal. And then the song starts to give you shivers, specifically when the vocals come in. The harsh vocals come in and really increase or enhance the overall experience that this song gives. Enhances the sound experience and enhances the atmosphere. It just feels so intense. It just feels like it's bubbling at the surface. Something is about to happen. You feel like the song is going to give you something more than what's currently giving you at that specific time. And then the track dips. It dips into a more clear-cut, clear-sounding atmosphere, almost a haze, if you will, and you start to wonder exactly where did all that intensity go, because all of that intensity completely been drained out of the song. And then once you start to come to the end of that more clear path that's ahead of you, that intensity, that heaviness starts to come back again, and the song starts to gain momentum. It starts to feel once again as it felt earlier on in the track. This time around perhaps a little bit more melodic, with some more melodic undertones underneath it. The guitars play dual roles here in order to create heaviness, in order to move the song, but also add melody. So the track finishes in a similar fashion in terms of how it started, but a lot more melodic after that melancholic atmosphere stretch that just breaks the song and gives you two bookends with this incredible momentum right in the middle. Next you have Beyond I, a song featuring Miriam Valentin, and she's phenomenal. I was completely blown away when this song came on. It's a track that feels very stripped out. It is very stripped out. It doesn't just feel it. It is. It's a track that's driven by her vocals. Her vocals guide the song, guide the experience, and add to the overall atmosphere that's being created. This is a track that has a little bit of a jazzy tone to it, has a little bit of a jazzy atmosphere. You get it perhaps more from the vocal tone than you do from the music itself. The music is just there to enhance the experience, because this song is all about the vocals, what the vocals do, how they make you feel towards the track. Phenomenal song. Last but not least, Blood Upon Stone, a track that has intensity both musically and vocally. It has some grit, and you're going to see that sludginess coming through really clear. It allows the sound to become thicker, not necessarily just heavier. I mean, it feels heavier because the vocals are heavy. The harsh vocals add heaviness to the sound. But musically, the song just feels more like it's big. It just feels like it has thickness to it. It's not really about heaviness. It's more about volume and depth, and you're definitely going to get that as you move throughout this track. It also makes you feel like the song gains momentum here and there. It has a lot of movement internally. It doesn't stay stagnant. It doesn't stay just with one approach, one size fits all. The vocals work really well in order to help you navigate through the experience. This track also has some dips. It doesn't stay constant. There's no track on this album, outside of maybe one or two, definitely Beyond I. That one stays a lot more constant, but overall you always feel like there is movement within these songs. This one is no different. It just dips, and when it dips into some calm waters that allows you to then resurface afterwards and start to feel like the intensity and aggression is coming back. It's coming back the way it was at the start of the song, but now you're going to see some gradual movement upwards until you reach the climax near the end of the track. So when you look at the Silver Arc and you look at this song, both have a lot of the same attributes, musically and from a construction perspective. you see a lot of the same things happening. Heavy, intense at the beginning, this melancholic, atmospheric stretch in the middle, and then that same heaviness coming back at the end. Now, the end of these two songs works differently. One added melody, the other one gained volume, became heavier and heavier until you reach the climax at the end. So a lot of similarities, but the songs are far apart from each other. So you have to kind of pinpoint and start picking these commonalities in order for you to draw the full picture of the album. Like I said earlier when I was talking about the structure, these two songs represent that really well, and Beyond I represents the difference that exists within this album, that chaos that I was talking about when it comes to finding continuity from song to song. This is it. Cult of Luna, The Long Road North, out February 11th on Metal Blade Records. Let me know your thoughts on the band, on the singles. Use the comment section below. I'll be reading those and getting back to you. Take care, guys.